let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shedeur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate.
The NFL just pulled off a scene straight out of a crazy sports movie, only this time it's not fiction, it's real. The CEO himself stormed into the Browns' offices and got in the owner's face, practically barking, "Put Shedeur Sanders on that field." Forget playbooks, forget depth charts. This was raw power flexing in broad daylight. This is what happens when billionaire egos collide with Sunday football. It turns into a soap opera with shoulder pads. The drama wasn't just simmering. It exploded harder than a blindside hit from a hungry linebacker. And honestly,
they're not conspiring to sabotage somebody who, by the way, would be great for the league. And he is great for the league because the league wants eyeballs on it. There is no reason they would be trying to conspire against him and sabotage him. He all goes on to say, I think he has a higher ceiling. He's a great playmaker. He was tremendously accurate. He has the feel when he's in the game and how to make the big plays. But just because you have the ceiling that's really high and the potential to be able to do that doesn't mean you could do that right.
The Cleveland Browns are the perfect team for this kind of circus. They're like that one kid in gym class who never ties their shoes. Every year, they're tripping over themselves in the most embarrassing ways possible. Fans start to believe they might finally run straight, and boom, they're face first in the dirt again. 2 decades of quarterbacks rotating like they're contestants on America's Next Top Interception Thrower. So when the rumor spread that the league's own CEO stomped in and told the Browns owner, "You're starting Shedeur Sanders, period," nobody was shocked. It didn't feel like breaking news. It felt like the Browns' destiny. If there's one franchise that would need outside interference just to survive, it's the same crew that once hyped Johnny Manziel as their golden ticket. But here's the kicker. The NFL is business first, and the Browns are basically the failing franchise dragging down the Yelp reviews of the entire league. Sure, the NFL prints money, but you can only show so many sad clips of the dog pound before it stops being funny and starts looking like cruelty on national TV. Enter Shedeur Sanders, the so-called golden ticket. The kid the NFL clearly believes can drag the Cleveland Browns out of the mud, whether they're ready or not. He isn't just some rookie quarterback. He's the headline. The Hollywood script come to life. Think about it. He's Deion Sanders' son. That name alone sends shockwaves.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously, I think overall as a player, I feel like I put in the work. I feel like everything I do, I try to do it to my best, and that's all I ask for. So I feel like everybody feels like, they should be on the team, and if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong, in their own eyes. So I feel like I do, but I'm my own player, I think about myself in a high regard, of course. So it's not my decision.
College football turned into the Shadow Show, with cameras glued to him like he was running his own network. He's flash, swagger, and jaw-dropping highlights all rolled into one package. Compare that with the Browns' history of quarterbacks who vanish faster than a viral TikTok trend, and you can see why the league's top boss was sweating bullets in his tailored suit, practically begging the owner to unleash Shadow. Now picture that boardroom. The Browns owner probably leaning back, muttering, last I checked, I own this team. And the NFL CEO firing back with a smirk, that's cute, but ratings own you. The vibe? Pure chaos, suits around the table, sipping sparkling water that costs more than rent, while the CEO's eyes blaze like he binge-watched Jerry Springer reruns before the meeting. He slams an invisible playbook on the table and declares, "Enough! America doesn't want another Cleveland disaster. They want Shadow." At that moment, you could almost hear Vince McMahon's entrance music blasting through the boardroom speakers. And let's be real, he wasn't lying. The Browns have tried every trick, drafting, trading, throwing money at quarterbacks like confetti, and somehow they still keep ending up right back at square one. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders carries that chosen one aura, the kind of energy that makes TV execs drool. He doesn't even have to throw a touchdown. Just walking into the stadium has networks fighting for camera angles. ESPN doesn't care about Cleveland's offensive line. They care about cutting to Deion Sanders in the VIP box, shades on, smirking like he's already read the script to the season finale. But let's be clear, this isn't just about football anymore. This is about money, ratings, and making sure the NFL always looks like it's ahead of the culture. If the Browns somehow kept Shedeur on the sidelines while other teams trend on TikTok, that wouldn't just be bad football. It would be a marketing disaster. So when the CEO backed the Browns owner into a corner, this wasn't a playbook conversation. This was about answering the only letters that matter.
Somebody said it yesterday, Bull, and I'm surprised you didn't double down on this. I loved it. I was at home. I couldn't really speak like I want to, but you said, hey, if I'm the Browns, you take Travis Hunter. And guess what? If Shedeur Sanders falls below a certain position, you trade back up and you go take him too. I'll take both of them.
Yeah,
I mean, people say it's far-fetched, but if you're the Cleveland Browns, I mean, you've already said it's going to take a couple of years to get this thing back up and moving. My thing is, I want to get super uber.
Q's and A's from shareholders, advertisers, and TV networks who know Shedeur equals clicks, streams, and jerseys flying off shelves like hotcakes. Forget X's and O's. This is capitalism in cleats. And poor Browns fans, once again, they're stuck in the middle, pawns in a billion-dollar chess game they never asked to play. So the NFL's head honcho barging in to demand Shedeur starts? That's not a shock, it's just another Tuesday in Cleveland. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback, he's a walking, talking marketing machine. The man doesn't stroll into games, he struts in like he's shooting a GQ cover. Gold chains, luxury cars, designer shades. He makes Joe Namath look like he was shopping bargain bins at Kmart. And the NFL eats up every second because here's the cold truth. They don't just want Shedeur to play, they want Shedeur to sell. The NFL doesn't want another faceless quarterback who barely throws for 175 yards and a single touchdown on Sundays. That's snooze-worthy. That's Cincinnati in the 90s. What the league craves is drama, flash, and a quarterback who trends on Twitter before he even takes a snap.
I love Joe T. And I know that Joe T is in Cleveland. He's out there. He's amongst the people. So he knows the pulse a little bit. And for me, I think it's more of the managers, the general manager, the owners and things trying to just chill the noise. They understand that they have Shedeur. They're just really trying to start Joe Flacco right now because he's just a consecutive vet. You know what you're going to get.
And Shedeur, he looks like he was built in a lab for exactly this moment. He's got the bloodline, the swagger, and the magnetism to crash the internet with just one Instagram story. Sports outlets trip over themselves, turning his every post into breaking news. When's the last time Cleveland had that? Answer, never. The closest they got was Baker Mayfield filming progressive commercials while still struggling to hit a slant route. And don't forget about Deion, Coach Prime himself. The NFL knows wherever Shedeur goes. Deion follows, sunglasses on, turning every sideline into a reality show. That's the real reason the CEO supposedly went nuclear. It's not about Shedeur learning schemes or adapting to a system. The plan is simple. Shedeur is the system. Forget development. Throw him on the field and let the ratings flow like champagne. He could fumble every snap, and ESPN would still edit highlight reels with cinematic music like he just reinvented football itself. But here's the twist. The Browns owner isn't exactly a yes man. Billionaires despise being told what to do, especially by other billionaires. It's like telling a cat where to sit. They'll do the opposite just to prove a point. So now you've got the NFL's CEO practically screaming, "Put in Shedeur," while fans are chanting the same thing, and the owner is probably muttering under his breath, "Not if it makes you happy." And you know who's absolutely loving this tug-of-war? Fox, ESPN, CBS. They're all circling like vultures, waiting for the scraps of this power struggle. Because let's be honest, a showdown between the NFL CEO and the Browns owner isn't just football, it's straight-up reality TV with helmets and shoulder pads. You can almost hear the trailer voiceover right now. From chaos to kickoff, the battle for Shadow begins. Meanwhile, the Browns' current quarterbacks are sweating bullets, probably pacing around their apartments, typing how to politely request a trade into Google.
Shedeur, we talk oftentimes about quarterback being the most important position in the sport. We obviously spent a lot of time with Shedeur throughout the process. He's highly accurate, can play well from the pocket, very productive college career. And, we felt like it wasn't necessarily the plan going into the weekend to select two quarterbacks, but as we talk about, we do believe in best player available. We do believe in positional value, and we didn't necessarily expect him to be available in the fifth round, and so we love.
Imagine walking into practice and realizing the league itself doesn't want you, like your boss inviting the CEO to your desk just to tell you you're irrelevant. That's not just awkward, that's soul-crushing. But here's the cold truth. The NFL doesn't care about their feelings. The league sees Shadow as a goldmine, and nothing, absolutely nothing, as small as team autonomy is going to get in the way. Remember, this is the same league that once tried to ban touchdown celebrations just because they were too fun. Do you really think they'd hesitate to strong-arm a struggling franchise if it meant ratings exploding? Please, they do it with a smile. And the irony? It's almost too perfect. The Cleveland Browns, the one franchise famous for messing things up without any help, now have the NFL's CEO stepping in like, "You're so bad at this, I've got to run your team for you." That's not management, that's babysitting, billionaire edition. It's like your boss suddenly deciding you can't even staple papers right, and then taking over your desk in front of everyone. Embarrassing? Yes. But for Cleveland, that's exactly on brand. Now we've got a perfect storm. Shedeur Sanders riding a hype train bigger than a Marvel premiere, the NFL CEO desperate to turn Cleveland into primetime TV, and an owner who probably wants to hide under his desk every time his phone lights up. Picture it.
He's as tough a kid, tough a quarterback as I've ever seen. His arm is at least as good as Brady's. It's Brady-esque.
You guys act like a fifth-round pick is a punishment.
Okay.
It's not. It's an opportunity. I've never seen anybody talk this much about a fifth-round pick, ever.
Because he's not a real fifth-round pick. That show you right there. I wish we could have the owners here and, get them real liquored up. I might spill the beans.
The Browns owner sitting smug and stubborn, sipping something that costs more than a mortgage payment, trying to play it cool, then storms in the NFL CEO, red-faced, pacing like he just finished a Shark Tank binge. The message is crystal clear. This isn't a request. The league doesn't just want Shadow on the field, they need him there. But the Browns owner? Oh, he's not folding. Billionaires don't take orders, they give them. He probably leans back, adjusts his cufflinks, and smirks. "I bought this team so I could ruin it my way." Meanwhile, the CEO is stomping around like a frustrated dad stuck at Chuck E. Cheese, muttering about ratings, sponsors, and how Shadow is the golden key to the TikTok generation. At one point, you can almost see the CEO pulling out pie charts and engagement graphs, waving them around like a mad professor. Look, this kid's Instagram pulls more views than your entire offense. Imagine a giant PowerPoint slide flashing across the boardroom wall in bold letters. This kid prints money, and the owner probably doodling stick figures on a napkin, nodding just enough to fake interest. The Browns owner keeps digging his heels in, refusing to budge. But here's the wild part. While these billionaires are clashing in a boardroom, Shadow is probably nowhere near the chaos.
Strained an oblique throwing Wednesday morning, according to the team, and was held out of first day of joint practices with the Eagles. Sanders is considered day-to-day, won't practice today, unlikely to play in the preseason game versus the Eagles Saturday. His injury is the latest in a string of ailments that have impacted the Browns quarterback room. Essay, I'll start with you. What does this injury mean for Shedeur?
Well, to me, it's a setback. Just my personal opinion. Not a negative against him in any way. But I thought the momentum from his performance against the Carolina Panthers was something that he was going to be able to ride, even when he was still left as number 4 on the depth.
He's off polishing his jewelry collection, dropping cryptic tweets, and letting the internet do the heavy lifting for him. He doesn't even need to show up. The hype machine is running on autopilot. Meanwhile, fans start catching wind of the rumors, and social media goes absolutely crazy. Twitter fills up with memes of the Browns logo wearing shades. TikTok edits splice Shadow highlights with epic movie soundtracks, and Facebook uncles are posting, This kid better save us or I'm moving to Cincinnati. Suddenly, this isn't just a boardroom fight, it's a national circus, and everyone's got a front row seat. And let's be real, the NFL couldn't keep this quiet even if they tried. Leaks in Cleveland happen faster than the Browns blow fourth quarter leads. By the time the shouting match wraps up, every sports talk show is already foaming at the mouth. Debates are flying. Should the NFL even have this kind of power? Is it fair to shove a rookie straight into the fire? And the juiciest question of all, will this finally make the Browns worth watching? But here's the kicker.
Browns is the Browns. This is the most hype they've ever had. Like, it's the Browns.
Exactly.
So, he got drafted to the wrong team. That Sanders name, I'm telling you right now, there's only one person that understands business, and he will trade his quarterback for Sanders. Dallas is where Sanders is going to be.
Wow.
Because that name on the back of that jersey is legacy, and he's going to want that to ring bells around the globe.
In the middle of all this drama, no one actually knows if Shadow can survive 5 minutes behind Cleveland's offensive line without getting folded like a cheap lawn chair. But that doesn't matter. The point isn't protection, the point is spectacle. And the NFL CEO knows better than anyone that in today's world, spectacle sells. Cleveland might not rack up wins, but trust this, they're stacking headlines. And in today's NFL, sometimes that's the only scoreboard that matters. The second word leaked that the NFL CEO allegedly cornered the Browns owner and demanded Shedeur Sanders start, the football world went nuclear. Forget game highlights or injury reports, this became the story. Sports shows that normally waste half their time debating chicken wing flavors suddenly turned into political panels, screaming about league interference like it was Watergate with shoulder pads. Meanwhile, the other half of analysts rolled their eyes, saying they'd seen this movie too many times before, and it always ends the same way, heartbreak and beers in a freezing parking lot. And outside Cleveland, fans of rival teams had a field day. They mocked the Browns for being so pathetic that the league CEO had to step in and babysit them.
Up to fail.
We go!
Check it out. Yesterday it was announced that Shedeur Sanders will be the starter versus the Carolina Panthers Friday night, but people have a theory that they're really setting him up to fail. And this all started when Louis Riddick said this a couple days ago.
I'm afraid he's going to get on the field in preseason games without a lot of practice reps. And then they're going to ask him to perform these heroic tasks in order to prove that he's worthy of being a starter when he hasn't had enough reps to really get comfortable. That's the kind of battle he's dealing with right now. I know. I've seen it. Thom, you've seen it. We've been in these camps. We know how that goes.
That's not just shade, that's humiliation stamped in bold. But the real fireworks were inside the Browns' locker room. Overnight, it turned into a daytime soap opera. Imagine being the starting quarterback, grinding all summer, memorizing plays, only to wake up to headlines saying the league wants you benched for a rookie who hasn't even taken an NFL snap yet. That's not motivation, that's humiliation in cleats. You know those guys were glaring across practice fields, secretly typing how to become a free agent mid-season into Google. And here's the kicker. The controversy didn't hurt the NFL at all. It boosted it. Ratings projections shot through the roof, and Shadow-themed Browns gear was flying off shelves before the kid even touched the field. For the league, chaos wasn't a problem. It was profit. And isn't that the whole point? The NFL cracked the code a long time ago. It's not just a sport, it's reality TV with helmets. Every season rolls out its villains, its heroes, redemption arcs, and jaw-dropping scandals. The Patriots had Deflategate, the Raiders had Antonio Brown's helmet fiasco, and now the Browns have the CEO storming in like some corporate Batman demanding they play the Golden Boy. It's absurd, it's over the top, and yet it's exactly why fans can't look away. Because let's be real, people don't just want football anymore. They want the drama. They want the storylines, the memes, the debates that spill over into barbershops and group chats. They want to laugh, argue, and feel like they're watching something bigger than the game itself. And Shedeur Sanders, with his hype.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correct. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any rep with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that, but he doesn't, and then all of a sudden he's starting tomorrow night. It's like you want him to fail. I'm not accusing the coaches of doing this. I'm not accusing the GM of doing this, but that owner, Mr. Haslam, that's a different animal right there.
His swagger and his built-in celebrity baggage delivers every ounce of that spectacle. But here's where it gets chilling. How much control does the league really have? If the CEO can allegedly strong-arm a team into starting one guy, what's the next step? Will the NFL start assigning quarterbacks like it's fantasy football? Will they script endings like WWE? Picture Roger Goodell walking onto a stage announcing, "This year the Browns win the Super Bowl," for ratings. And honestly, at this point, would anyone even be shocked? And the Browns? They're right back where they always end up, wedged between desperation and delusion.
Now, after Louis Riddick said that, just yesterday it was announced that Shedeur Sanders will be the starter versus the Carolina Panthers, but people still was wondering, is this a legit shot or is some fishy going on? Well, today, Browns insider Mary Kay Cabot tweeted this out. Browns Kevin Stefanski said, by any large, we're going to rest our starters Friday night versus the Panthers. Shedeur will work with some 2s and 3s versus the Panthers starters.
Damn.
Now, you had the Louis Riddick clip with somebody who's very well respected in NFL. Now you have a Browns insider saying, look, Shedeur isn't even going to play in the game.
A team so hilariously cursed that their ticket to relevance might actually come from a league executive barging into their office and barking orders like he owns the place. It's tragic, it's comedic, and honestly, it's the most Cleveland thing you could imagine. Because here's the truth. The NFL doesn't actually need the Browns to win championships. Nope, all the league needs is for Cleveland to matter, to trend, to stir up chaos that keeps fans glued to their screens. And now, with Shedeur Sanders riding the hype machine and a CEO with zero chill-pulling strings behind the curtain, the Browns finally matter again, even if it's for all the wrong reasons. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share with your people, and I'll catch you on the next one.